Hey everybody, it's Josh. I want to talk a little bit tonight about spiritual warfare. A lot of born again Christians I know, and even people who are still seeking or still in the very early stages of trying to form a relationship with Christ, they get what feels like a curse in their life. They get just hit nonstop, one thing after another. Just tragedy after trauma, after heartbreak. It is just nonstop beatdown of life. And a lot of times this happens before we are ever even called to Christ, because the people who are called to Christ, what you don't understand is you have to be broken. You have to be broken enough to be humbled, to understand that the things of this world just ain't working for me anymore. And it has to be reinforced enough to tell you, hey, not only are they not working anymore, but I never want to go back to that again. And I will do everything in my power to not go back to the completely broken, sinful lifestyle that I've lived. Now, don't get me wrong. You're never going to be without sin. You're never going to be without desire, temptation. I mean, Christ literally went through the craziest temptations there was. You know, look at his time in the desert when the devil was tempting him with just incredible things that any of us would have been like, okay, yeah, I'm out here. I haven't ate for 40 days, 40 nights. I'm gonna just go ahead and rule the world because you're gonna let me. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. That's what most of us would do if we were in that situation, when we are fasting for 40 days and 40 nights in the desert and the devil comes at us with that kind of offer. We're not going to be without these temptations ever. And when you are still being trained, because there's a training period and you don't know you're in a training period. So in my case, I just had a ton of suffering to endure. I had one thing after another where one or two of these things, okay, I could have managed. It would have been still tough, but I could have gotten by. But you start adding, a good baker's dozen in there of just tragedies and traumas and even minor things happening. You stack them on top of each other like that, and it just makes a massive pile of flaming hot garbage. That is the training that we're going through. The more you suffer in life, the more profound your purpose is going to be. That is, if you choose the right way. Because we always have the choice. Are we going to open our lives up to continue to live in that sin? Are we going to sign a deal with the devil and be like, hey, the devil's the one causing these things, but he'll give you a pretty good deal to get out of it too. He'll give you wealth. He'll give you fame. He'll give you love in the form of lust. It's not real love. Nobody can give you that except for Christ. Nobody, until they have been born again, even understands love. I had no clue. I thought I knew what love was when I held my babies in my arms for the first time. And that was as close to true love as I got, for sure. And I did absolutely love them, but I had no idea how transcendental this love was, how so far above any kind of human connection could ever be was the love that Christ showed me. But as I was saying, these spiritual attacks, they will come hard and fast. And when you are born again, oh man, you better believe they're coming at you hard, because now you are a soldier for the other side, and they're going to try to flip you. They're going to try to flip you back to their side. And now they're going to be extra rough or give you extra temptation just to flip you back to their side. So you might get, like I was, I had, it came at me hard and fast. The first month and a half, I guess, close to 2 months after I was born again, my mother-in-law passed suddenly from a stroke. And let me tell you, if I wouldn't have had the Holy Spirit within me, my family would not have survived that. My wife and I might still be married, sure, but we would have been so miserable because we were already at each other's throats. We were so hurt and so broken. So, I would get up and I would be in a bad mood because my back is always hurting, my back and my leg. The doctor nicked my sciatic nerve during my first of 4 back surgeries. And I would get up just already not in a good mood. And then the first thing I would hear is my wife yelling at me about something. And so I would just start yelling back at her. And it would just go on all day. And it really was for always, almost every single time. We didn't even know why we were mad at each other to begin with. We were lashing out because we were so broken. So I had to, I was on such a spiritual high, and then this happens. My mother-in-law just passes. And then, of course, to make matters worse, we had to go up to Virginia, but both of our cars were on their last legs. They're barely running. So, my wife was just like, I'll just go up by myself, because she had to go up first because she was still in a coma for a few days. So she drove up, and then, she passed a few days later, and there was no way I was going to get my truck up there. It was almost definitely going to be broken down on the side of the road. So I was like, what do you want me to do? And, but the whole time, all these little things, and there was the drama going on as it always does during these times. Unfortunately, these things can either bring the best or the worst out of people. And when you are living in poverty and already in suffering, then, which, her family definitely was, and obviously our family definitely was, my family, you're living in that suffering, you're already going to be right on razor's edge. And anything that happens to you can just flip you and just make you just even more miserable. It is completely awful. But not for me. I was obviously sad that she had gone, and I obviously missed her. But the Holy Spirit actually showed me, took me to her, the actual moment that she died. So I saw her off. I saw her leaving. She was stuck in a coma, and I saw her, and she was just in this foggy, kind of staticky place that was very unsettling. But I had this peace around me. And I told her, I was like, it's okay. You can go. She didn't see me there, but she heard my voice. And I saw the relief coming over her face that she could get out of that place. Like, I could see that she felt like she was a prisoner in that place. And then she was finally at peace. I saw it. I saw so many things during these initial spiritual attacks, and they were brutal. I mean, one thing after another. So I was tested like this, and to me, as hard as these problems seemed, and as crazy as these attacks were, I was just at peace. I think in the beginning we're tested so much. Being a follower of Christ, excuse me, it's both the easiest and the hardest thing I've ever done. I've walked through the depths of hell since I was born again. But I volunteered to be there this time. Before, I was there without any input. I didn't want to be in hell. Almost nobody wants to be in hell. I was there because life, a lot of the choices I'd made, true, but really just random chance. Disability, which really kicked off the downward spiral. I didn't have a choice in that, obviously. I guess I could have gone back in time and taken better care of my back, I guess, but, not been such an idiot in trying to lift, bench press 500 pounds and, squatting God knows how much. But I just, the whole thing, it was inoculating me to hell. I knew now how to deal with all of the awful jagged rock terrain in hell. I knew how to deal with the predators, which are the demons in hell, and their temptations. I knew how to deal with the suffering. And I'm telling you what, it's been, in November, it'll be 2 years since I've been saved. I've been in still, obviously, with my mother-in-law dying, my grandmother has died since then. My mom has been paralyzed from a stroke that happened right before I was saved. And it's just like all this stuff, along with my physical nerve pain, which never goes away. It barely ever even gets any relief from it. I barely ever get relief from it. All that pain, and I haven't suffered once since I was saved. But I was stuck in hell before. I was stuck in hell. Now I was here willingly because Christ asks us to go to these places. If we've been to these places and we're born again, excuse me, still getting over this little cold. It's the tail end though, so if we have been trained in these places, chances are that your purpose that Christ is going to give you is going to have something to do with this. So if you are an addict, for instance, chances are you are going to help shepherd the lost souls who are addicts as well. For me, being disabled and, a lot of the other things that I went through, I feel like I need to shepherd a lot of the disabled people, help them out and show them that it's not just some hopeless void. There's not just no reason to live anymore. There's absolutely incredible reasons to be here. Because if we're still here, it's for a very good reason. And Christ is guiding us out of this. But I think that we have to be prepared for this spiritual warfare, especially as a devout Christian and a born-again Christian. And people who are still seeking, and it's becoming clearer and clearer that Christ is who is calling you, you have to understand this, that, yeah, you are going to be tested a lot. And that's not a reason to obviously reject Christ. No way, don't do that. You are going to relish in the challenge sometimes. Sometimes it's going to be like, oh, come on. But the stronger your faith is, the simpler it's going to be for you. I mean, that first thing where, like I said, that could have ripped my life, my wife, my children, and then it could have spread out to my parents, my sister, my brother-in-law. It could have spread out to everyone. The just brokenness and corruption and darkness. Instead, it actually became, I'm not going to say a positive experience, because someone dying is not a positive. It became a positive in the fact that I understood finally that the darkness couldn't get to me anymore. Yeah, I'm going to be saddened when someone dies, or I'm going to obviously hurt in various types of pain, but it's not a challenge to me anymore. There's going to be challenges still, but I honestly work on building my faith, and the stronger my faith is, it's no challenge at all. If you can get to the point where your faith is so strong, which it's easier said than done because we all doubt. Every time we sin, we're doubting, whether we know it or not, because if we sin, that means we are basically saying, yeah, I understand the whole thing with Christ and the salvation, and how basically we are punishing our own Lord when we sin, because he's taking the penalty for those sins upon himself. But you can't get past the doubts completely, but you can get pretty close. And the closer you get to Christ-like, you will find seriously supernatural powers. There are abilities that don't make sense to you. They don't. And stuff that you never really thought possible, but now you're like, I've talked to a lot of you, my brother Nathaniel on there. He was telling me, he never believed in things like ghosts and stuff like that, and now he's just getting hit hard with the spiritual warfare. My brother TJ, he has been getting tested nonstop, and I mean nonstop. And you know what he's doing? Yeah, it was affecting him. It can't not affect you. We're human beings. But we're now in the body of Christ, and he is taking that suffering and that anguish, and he's pouring it into his ministry. And let me tell you, if you go and listen to, go to TJ Tells the Truth, the YouTube channel, and just listen to some of his most recent live broadcasts. What's today? It's Sunday now, so from this past weekend, whatever the date is, I have no idea. It's sad that I don't know that. August 20-something. Just look at some of his recent live interviews. The one with the atheist was really good. When the atheist challenges him, oh man, he is doing amazing. And let me tell you, he's taking that Life Gives You Lemons and making it into the lemonade thing and he's making that into a, Christ is just giving him blessing after blessing after he's getting hit with curse after curse, it seems like. Christ's going, okay, you're getting through this good, now we're going to turn it around and we're going to use it for good. We're going to use this energy instead of feeling sorry for yourself, instead of, just feeling down and feeling like a victim. No, he turned it around, man. It is beautiful. And he is, I'll tell you what, he was good when he started, but now hearing his live streams, they are great. I really enjoy them, and he's getting better every day. He's going to far surpass me. But I'm just here. I tell you what, I am here to plant the seeds. I am here to shepherd some lost souls, some broken souls. I'm here for the ones who fell in between the cracks. I'm not ever thinking I'm going to be some mainstream guy. I'm a, fat bearded dude with a cell phone taking videos, and they're probably not going to get much more sophisticated than that. I guess if it blows up so much, maybe I'll buy some good cameras or something and start doing some different type of videos. But why would I want to? I go to worship Christ in the woods, in nature, and that is where I feel closest to him. And so I bring my phone and I worship him, I talk to him, and then I talk to you guys. In days like this when it's crazy bugs and crazy heat, then I'll do a quick video maybe outside, then I'll come and do some in my house then. But the fall's coming soon, so you're going to see me outside a lot more. But I'm telling you all, you can take all of the pain and all of the burden and the cross that you have to bear, and Christ will take that burden for you until you can carry it yourself. But when you become one with Christ, when you are truly born again, when you're baptized in the Spirit, you have the option of, if it's too much, you just give that cross right back over to him. You don't want to give it to him more than you have to because you want to save his suffering just a little bit more. But if he doesn't mind, if you are hurting that bad, he doesn't mind carrying that for you. He takes the weight of the world off of your shoulders. You're standing there like Atlas, like holding up the world, and it's crushing you. As strong as I am, it doesn't do me much good in this body with the nerve damage and everything. But as strong as I am, I never once thought I would feel as weak as I did, the day before I was saved. I was just the weakest, the most pathetic, the most broken man you had ever seen. And I hid it well. I did. I was good at that. Because I didn't want my family having to see how much I was just in agony. But I didn't know how much I could hide it anymore. And, the only vent I had was going out into the woods and just kind of losing myself and finding rocks and finding mushrooms and finding, just being outside. It just made me feel better, and I didn't know why. It was I knew it was my sanctuary, but I didn't believe in an intervening God at the time because the way that I thought, I was like, well, if he's an intervening God, then he really must not like me. So I was going to make one last plea to him, and I did. And really, it was really the first plea. I acted like I pleaded for his, his help and his guidance before. And I talked to him, but I was still too stubborn and too proud and too ignorant and too doubtful to really plead to him. So, I say it was the last time, but it really was the first time. I said, Lord, I don't want this life anymore. I don't know why you would want it, but if you do, if you just show me a sign, if you give me some sort of guidance, I will give my life to you. I will. It's not worth much, but I will give it to you. And man, he took that deal in an instant. And he showed me, hey, he shows you don't owe him anything, but you owe him everything. It is the greatest miracle you will ever imagine. And it will happen to you. If you give yourself completely to him, you just go to a place of peace. And if you are ready to be done with the burdens and the suffering of this life, he will take your hand and you will never suffer again. I promise you this. But you have to really be to that point. You have to really open your heart. Okay, I'm getting off of here because it's like 3 a.m. I'm just recording videos because my mind just kept racing, and I had, as I said, it was just too many bugs today. I was going to do like 3 videos today outside, and the bugs were insane. And so I was like, okay, well, God's obviously showing me I'm not supposed to be doing videos out here, so I get the hint. I'm still stubborn. I still tried a few times. It's still got like a 5-minute video in, but it is what it is. I'll always be stubborn, I guess, in a way. I love you all so much. God bless you.